Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zeros on Heroes, Collateral Benefit. My name is Mike Mercadal. With me, as always, is...
Watkins.
Get the flex. Get the flex. We're here to fight those stereotypes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you're watching us live, welcome to the present. If you're watching us in the future, welcome to the past. Thank you, everybody, for if you like, share, and subscribe, and do all of the social media things. We appreciate it. We would still be doing this to nobody because it's beneficial for us, and I enjoy talking to my friend Will Watkins. Hello. We missed last week. We were out. The show is all about improvements that happen to you when you're trying to improve one aspect of your life. You improve others, mind, body, and community, and we're always trying to find ways. If we're doing something to improve our lives, we share with the community, and we encourage you to do the same. That's basically the premise of the show. What are you doing that's good for you? Thank you, Will, for being here. We are doing this at a different time. It's a little later than normal.
Yeah. What time is it in LA? Is it like 2 in the morning?
Your microphone is crackly now.
Oh, it's crackly?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm gonna mute you. That's okay. Once you get it fixed, we'll figure it out. I am in Los Angeles. Will is in New York City, and we are bi-coastal. I'm dealing with a heat wave out here in California. The heat wave in California is coming from Florida quaint, right? Like,
am I back?
Oh no, it still sucks. Hold on. Log out and log back in.
Oh no.
Yeah. For those of you watching, it is Sunday, September 8th. We are smack dab in the middle of football stuff. I don't imagine anyone is watching this live. If you're watching this in the past. We are smack down in the beginning of football season. And I feel emotional about it. I struggle with this is something I wanted to talk about today because as a former football player, I played high school and I was like really, motivated to go to college, play somewhere in college. Are we back? And oh no. Uh-oh. Reload the page. Refresh everything. Come back in. Leave the studio. Hey guys, technical difficulties. We're in Los Angeles. I'm watching my Miami Dolphins play. That's my team. I love them so much. And then what ends up happening is that I feel emotionally, maybe it's not, maybe it's me. I feel emotionally affected. I feel emotionally affected by my sports teams. Do you get that, Will Watkins?
No, because I stopped caring about sports teams after the Marlins roster was sold for the second time in 2002. Is that when it was?
When I don't
know. Do you remember they won the World Series in '97, the Marlins?
Oh, 2003.
Yeah, they won the World Series in '97, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm a little boy. The Florida Marlins is my life now.
Yeah.
And then Juan Zenga sold the team and the entire team in 1998. And then they won the World Series again. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm back. And then he did it again.
He did it again. And that is such a story. Like, I went to that World Series.
Did you really?
I was able to go, the one that went into extra innings, and then Miguel Cabrera hits the home run over the wall, over the left field wall. I was there. I watched it happen at the end in extra innings where every pitch matters. Like, I do think it's important. Like, there's a lot of toxicity in the reverse where nerds went, oh, you're big into sports ball, are you?
Mm-hmm.
And as a nerd, I'm like, hey, I can be two things. I can like two things. I can enjoy multiple things. Yeah. I can enjoy my X-Men comic books and playing my video games. And then also I can enjoy being a fan of elite athletics. Like that's where one of the only places, like with the Olympics just happened, you got to see some of the most extremely gifted physical bodies in the mental fortitude it takes to compete at that level on display. And whenever a sport happens, you get to see the best of that activity, we'll say.
Yeah.
Because people make fun of golf, but man, you're not out there on the PGA. There's an exclusivity to being athletically gifted or training yourself to an athletic peak. There's like an exclusivity to it. And I think as young boys, we are exposed to it so much early on, and it does kind of color your existence a little bit because, like I was saying, emotionally, I feel sad when the Dolphins lose. I today feel great because the Dolphins won. Now, if I start picking it away, there's all this critiquing stuff. But who am I? I'm just some guy sitting in front of a computer talking to his nerd friend about getting fit. I don't know anything about the reality of what it takes to be a professional football player, but overall, if they do good, I do good.
Yeah.
It's that weird tribalism. I don't know. I don't know. Like for the Marlins, like what you're talking about, that feels like also a very geographic thing, like
Yeah.
a identity thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's what sports is your sports team is your geographical location. You were born in South Florida, so therefore you like the Marlins, you like the Dolphins. If you're born in New York, you like the Yankees or the Mets. Specifically, if you were born in Queens, you like the Mets.
Yes.
For some
I was
reason,
gonna say.
if you were born in New Jersey, you also like the Mets.
Right.
Which is weird. But I mean, I guess it's not too weird. But I think it's not even sports. It's just geographic location.
It's something to.
It's also the thing, like when they sold off the Marlins twice. One of the jokes that always hit home for me was Jerry Seinfeld's thing about how you're just rooting for laundry.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I did like Jeff Conine and I loved Gary Sheffield, and it's like
Yes. Yeah. And then they all go play in other places.
and now they're gone, and it's like what happened? No, after it's like when like Scrubs. Remember the TV show Scrubs?
Yes.
And then they had a finale on NBC, but then it got moved to ABC, and they had to recast everything with like
it was basically like
Dave Franco.
Yeah, it was like basically like a new pilot, like a spin-off show that they were going to do after having done like a dismount already. So it's like, hey, this doesn't feel right, you know?
Or like Saved by the Bell, the college years or whatever it was.
Like, don't you dare besmirch Saved by the Bell, the college years. I loved that show.
So it's like baseball teams and like sitcoms when they switch to a new cast or whatever. It's like I have no emotional investment in this anymore. It's I'm more of a people person than I never really found the allegiance to a certain geographic location. So I never really latched on to the whole like, oh, I got to rep Florida or whatever it is. Like, I'll rep Florida when it comes to like Florida man stories, but like not like sports teams.
That's how you identify. You're like, no, the crazy guy putting an alligator in a trash can and throwing it into his mother-in-law's swimming pool. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Go home team. No, I completely understand the aspect of like tribalism because it's the same thing like religion. You're usually the religion of wherever you were born.
Yeah.
Or whatever your family is. And if you rebel, you pick their enemy. You know what I mean? That you pick the rival. Like if all your life you grow up as a Jets fan in New York, because we did have these guys in I used to go to a Miami Dolphins bar.
Yeah, Jets, yeah.
The Miami Dolphins and the Jets hate each other. To the point where like physical violence has happened over cheering over laundry, as you put it. Yeah. It's like so stupid. So there's an inherent kind of like I'm the othering of other people. Like I need to be an in group. I need to find a group that I can be a part of culturally, and if it needs to feel benign, right? Like not like an army or like a political organization. It's just sports, man. But it becomes kind of the same way people like in other countries and around the world talk about their soccer allegiances.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. There's a story that like Matt Damon told on Hot Ones where he was like his wife is Argentinian or something like that. They go into Argentina and they went to go watch the thing and they had to like wall off the stadium. They had to keep people because people were throwing like road flares and shit.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. People over millionaires playing a game to
Yeah.
make billionaires richer. Again, I get it, but also I love it so much. I love it so much. I love watching athletics. I love watching the feats of ability and strength and agility, and I love watching. I love the drama of it. Like that, there's a time clock, and as the time winds down, I love the poetry of it, where someone's entire career can be made in a highlight. An injury can take someone out, and like this is so devastating. There's so many highs and lows because it's kind of like a form of theater almost. You
Yeah.
know, it's a form of like experiencing emotion on that level because if you watch the like when one team scores a touchdown to win the game and the other team loses, the on the same field, the emotions are so vastly different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally standing right next to you, and there's that's it. That's the outcome. You know, that's the way. That's ultimately what happens. That's the result. That's the score. That's the end result. You win, you lose, and you have to accept it, and then you move on,
Yeah.
and you got to keep going. It's like I love the drama of it all. If it was pure, it would be pure. It would be even better. But it's like it's still very much a display. Like probably the first display of elite whatever your body is capable of that you see as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that being said, the Dolphins won today, so I'm in a good mood.
Also, I
Uh,
feel like depending on who you ask, it is a scripted theater. Depending on who you ask,
oh
you know,
yes, conspiracy theories.
I feel like I'm not a sports person, but like you said, whatever brings you joy, let it bring you joy. But to your point about like the nerds pushing back on the sports
Yes,
ball
that's
or
right.
whatever it is, there's still a bit of inequality in the pop culture zeitgeist.
Yeah.
As much as like nerd culture did take over a lot of entertainment, but it is still like the other day, someone was like, big football week. The Ravens are playing and blah blah blah, and so and so is matching off against so and so, and they're all living in this new country or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I don't follow any of that. And if I admit to that, I'm gonna be seen as lesser of a man.
Yeah, that's a very real thing. I mean, it is something that
But
I
this at the same point, if I was like, yeah, man, they got the new trailer for Agatha All Along came out, and they're breaking it's instead of posters, there are tarot cards, and the tarot cards reveal, and it's like, if I said that in response to him, he'd be like, you fucking dweeb.
is it so here's the thing. I fully believe there are people who can walk both worlds, the daywalkers,
Yeah, yeah,
horizon walkers, the ones that can because I absolutely like I think that's a common I think the assumption is also like in the gym. The assumptions they make about gym going guys that they
yeah.
have a certain mentality. But gym bros are the most nerdy dudes because they are geeks about fitness. They are geeks about their own bodies. They are geeks about their own abilities.
Hmm.
They obsess over it in a certain way. I think that's kind of like like obsession has to be incorporated into some level of fandom, you know?
Yeah.
So like when someone is a like there's a difference I don't you know I'm not going to get into the nerd the whole like
Jocks versus nerds.
taxonomy of geek versus nerd versus
Oh yeah,
dork
yeah, yeah.
versus dweeb or whatever. It's all like I believe that there's the common thing is I went from watching the Dolphin game today to playing Dungeons and Dragons. I played Dungeons and Dragons today with my friends, where I'm the DM. I run the game.
Oh wow.
I play. I create a world for everybody. We do all these things. There's an adventure going on. We're slaying a basilisk. We're on the hunt for stolen treasure. There's all these kind of fantasy things that do not exist in the real world. Yet we are playing as if it is real.
Hmm.
The same way people who are sports fans say we won.
Yeah, yeah,
We didn't do anything. I watched them win. And I feel a sense of ownership and tribalism to that team because for me, it's a thing that my father and I share. It's a thing that I grew up feeling, very empowered when I played football. So it is like my connection to my youth in some way. It has nostalgia for me. So like, it's not just about the sports, it's about what it represents.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who become obsessive about sports and obsessive about that sort of thing often forget that it's pretty fucking nerdy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's super nerdy.
I also feel like there's the aspect, the difference between gym goers as far as athleticism goes and people who are big fans of sports,
Yes.
particularly football, because the only people who have ever, the only guys who have ever made fun of me for not following football have been, to put it lightly, not as in shape as me physically.
Right.
And it's almost as if they live vicariously through these football players for their own athleticism, and it may be a glory days thing. I feel it's also, whereas gym, you go to the gym, and you can strike up conversations and relationships with people at the gym, but it's what it comes down to. It's an individual activity. Whereas with football, it's camaraderie. Hey, let's all get together.
Team sport.
Let's watch the game. Let's all, even when you're playing the game, it's a team sport. But then when you're not even playing the game, like you said, it's we won the game. You're still a part of the team, even though you're not playing. You're still included in it. But whereas the gym is just straight up like, I'm at the gym. I'm destroying my muscle fibers and rebuilding them.
Right. The gym it does feel singular, right? Like
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's hard to say, because at a certain point, I believe that every activity becomes communal unless you're like taking a shit. You know what I mean? Like, and even then, I wanted to come on today and talk about poop, because it is a marker for health. I want to make sure everybody's pooping good. Like it's a thing that people feel so much shame over, but as a medical professional, it's like, hey, it's important that you poop well.
I think there's a book called Everybody Poops.
Does everybody poop? I like to think that there is a very real, like, the same way people feel shame about their bodies and shame about their stuff. There's like a shame that doesn't make any fucking sense. It's a natural process. Yeah, it's dirty, but so is like your skin. So is like your boogers. Your breath is dirty. You breathing is dirty. Like
I also feel our current shame over that has to do with evolution and whatnot. Because I don't know if you knew this, when a dog takes a shit, if you're walking a dog, the dog will stare at you in the eyes, and it's them saying, "Hey, I'm vulnerable right now. Can you protect me while I'm taking a shit?"
Yeah. It's
so
like, we're in this together.
The shame that humans have is, I need to protect myself by going into this room, or I need to protect myself by going into this bush where nobody can attack me.
Right.
And so that like, oh, I need to protect myself turned into, oh, this is the thing I can only do by myself.
Yeah, it's like an evolutionary benefit to be afraid of being seen pooping.
Yeah, it's like, because it is.
How do we get to this? How do we land on this? I'm trying to remember.
Because it's like when you're pooping, you're weak, and you don't want to admit that you're weak.
Yes, that's fair. Hold on, did something just change? No. Okay, I still sound fine, right?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay,
you look horrific.
But two things can be true. The irony of it all is that so much of progress is impeded by self-imposed, like, peer pressure from a fictitious or like a remnant of society that is no longer valid. And so much of progress is based on you letting that shit go.
Yeah.
Literally pooping, letting it go. Don't hold your poops, everybody. Poop when you need to. Wipe it. Make sure you wipe clean. Use a bidet. You want floaters, not sinkers.
Mm-hmm.
That's also true. You want to be eating a lot of fiber to bulk out.
I also heard if it's a handstand, that's not good. It shouldn't be like straight up and down.
Explain? Like it just sticks out of the toilet hole?
Like, it's like, it's like perfectly up and down, but it's touching the bottom of the toilet, but going straight up.
So like one side is floating and the other is not.
Yeah, it's like it's like a stalagmite.
Okay.
I heard that's bad.
That's bad. You should be forming stalagmites. You should be forming stalagmites in the toilet.
Yeah, no pile
You heard it here first. Yeah, you heard it here first. It's so funny to me that there are certain aspects of, like, I was a paramedic a long time, worked in the emergency room, worked in the ICU, worked with a lot of medical people, like healthcare professionals. And there is a sense of like, it's hard to gross us out. You know, like I've ruined many a dinner conversation talking to my paramedic uncle about some crazy shit that we've seen. And everyone at the and then everyone like we just kind of like, that's funny, ha ha ha. We look at the rest of the dinner table and people are like jaw agape, spoons, like, you know, like, what are you doing? What's wrong? Like food falling off of people making this face, you know, like, and it's because we're exposed to so much more of what the human body not only is capable of, but what how much of a nightmare it is. You know what I mean? So it is a thing that if you're drinking enough water, let me find the actual like rules, poop rules. Because if that is an important thing. I don't know why I started talking about pooping. Maybe it's just I'm just feeling good because I had a good one earlier today.
Oh, good for you, man.
But you know, that is something we should say good for you for. If someone's like, "Oh, I pooped really good today," it's like in Robin Hood Men in Tights when Richard Lewis is like, "I woke up, I had a good BM," and it's like, yeah, your whole day is better. Especially when you get the one wiper, where the solid Duke with the one wipe, and then you're like clean also.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome day ahead of you. What a benefit.
How about the one that there's nothing? Where you like
the ninja vanish? Yes, that you poop and then you look and it's like gone.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what?
You ever see that Chris Pratt?
Did I even poop?
That Chris Pratt outtake on Parks and Rec when he's talking to the doctor and he's like, I just keep wiping and it's just poop and more poop and I wipe. It's like I'm trying to wipe a Sharpie.
Yes. The irony of it being is that that's an unhealthy poop, but also this shows about like how your life is affected by good things that you're doing to improve your life. There is no worse a person to interact with than me if I've had one of those poop where I'm just like, it says I've been wiping for 20 minutes. What's happening? I want to be done with this. You know, what is this Play-Doh factory situation going on? Stop squeezing. But yeah, I mean, well, look here. We'll just share this. Healthy poop. That's so the type 1, you're super dehydrated. For the audio listener, this is the Bristol stool chart. These are the types of poops that you can have, and you want to be right in the middle. You want to thread that needle. 3 and 4 are ideal. 1 and 2, well, 2 is painful. It's genuinely like what we're going for, and this. You can't really see my mouse pointing at stuff. But yeah, you want it to be, this is the description on the Bristol stool chart, like a sausage, but with cracks on its surface. Or like a sausage or a snake, smooth and soft. Sausage shaped but lumpy, it means you're a little dehydrated. Separate hard lumps like nuts that are hard to pass means you're dehydrated or you're having some other issues. And then on the bottom, of course, you got the diarrheas. You got the mud butt, the bubble guts, other euphemisms for diarrhea. And now that I've mentioned it, I think I'm okay with moving on. But it's like I'm not going to talk about poop the whole time. I just feel like it's an important thing that people don't talk about. And I think we should make an effort to consider that as part of our whole body fitness.
I love Tom Segura's bit when the doctor asks him like, how's your poop looking? And he goes, well, every time it's an emergency.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. Another good one was scandal noted Louis C.K. Well, he had a bit where he was never 40. He was always 48 hours either going into or coming out of diarrhea. And it's like we gotta work on our diets, friends. We gotta work on our diets. But that's that I do feel like is an important thing, because I'll tell you when it improved. Also, when I started working out more, pooping got better.
Yeah. Eat more protein. Eat more rice, veggies, green veggies, cruciferous vegetables.
Lots of fiber. I eat a lot of beans, and I eat a lot of like cruciferous vegetables, and I feel like I could not be getting any more fiber in my diet than I already do.
Yeah.
But we also have fiber supplements there where I feel like I could be taking those. I will say this. I have never been more full of farts in my life than when you start a high fiber diet. There's that moment where your body's like, what's going on? And it's just like, I feel like the Super Mario World, when you get the little balloon and you go, whoop. And I'm like, if you poke me too hard, I'll rupture. Like, it was like, guys. So I was at work and I was like, oh, I got to run to the bathroom. And they're like, why you got to go to the bathroom so often? I'm like, man, this is for your benefit. This is for you that I'm doing this. I don't have to pee. I got to go fart in there. And because I'm choosing not to fart here. At least I will go into a patient room that is already stinky and fart in there, because it's not going to make any difference.
The doctor walks in like, oh my God, there's some sort of sepsis going on with this patient.
This patient's like, got C. diff. I'm like,
I just had a sore throat.
Should I? Yeah. It's like, should I be worried? Should Mike Mercadal be worried? Because if you're reacting like that, that's my problem. Enough about poop. Will, why'd you bring it up? What?
Wow, you're gaslighting me.
If I had a soundboard with applause, I would do it. Oh my God, this is the worst. Boo, boo. Let's talk about the actual show. We're talking about mind, body, and community. Will, what have you done this week since we last recorded to improve your body?
What have I done?
To help your body along, to give it some love.
I started taking that boxing class again, mainly because I have another 4 credits to use, or else they expire. So I need to use those up by the end of the month, and I will use them. But it did remind me how I do enjoy it.
You said Groupon? Was it a Groupon?
No, it's like I used to have like I signed up for like a recurring thing that forced me to go.
Oh, right.
And then work got crazy, and I was like, I'm just gonna cancel it. But I was like, I canceled it, but now I gotta use these things or else they expire. So it's like, But it is that I did it and I enjoyed it, and I forgot how good it was. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going forward with that. And then I was even thinking I may switch gyms to this other gym that's has its own boxing bag, so I can just do it on my own.
Is this in addition to your general workouts, like your weight training?
Yeah, so I would. It depends on how tired I am that day, but I've been doing a thing. Well, I will schedule the boxing for the same day I know I'm gonna do legs, which is insanity. Because then I feel like I'm warmed up for the legs after I do the boxing.
Oh, because you're doing a lot of footwork, a lot of jumping rope.
Yeah,
I did kickboxing. I loved kickboxing. I loved the fight, the training for martial arts and like fight, like ring sports is so fun.
Yeah,
it really is fun. Like I loved jumping rope. Like I felt the most in shape when I was doing that, because you're just constantly, you're like a coiled little spring. Yeah. And then you're like, because it's teaching you how to do all that stuff. I loved that sort of thing. And you saying that then you go in and destroy your legs after that? Oh my God.
I've done it before. I'll either go and do legs or I'll go and do chest. I try not to do the chest just because it's like so much shoulders involved and all that kind of stuff. But it's like I do find that because I'm bouncing around on my feet, oftentimes I'm doing a lot of stretching stuff. I'm not using like high heavy weights, so it's like I'll do the boxing, take a shower, hydrate, then I'll go do legs, and I won't go heavy with the legs, but it's a good opportunity to focus on form. And I'll
Yeah, because
do
you're already
instead of doing 80% of my max, I'll go for 50% of my max, and it's straight up focus on the form because I'm already loosened up. My joints are mobile and that kind of thing. And even
right.
when I do that, it's I'll go to proper depth, and I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be like every single time. And I was like, ah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh no, I've been going too heavy for too long. Because that's
yeah,
basically what it is. Like form is weight dependent.
yeah.
Like once you get to a point where your body is using other muscles, the knee valgus thing that I was working on
Oh
a
yeah, how's
lot.
that going?
Fine. It's not necessarily. It's not necessarily. I don't know how to make progress on it because I still feel like it's there.
Yeah,
But I need. I don't. I don't know. I don't have the machine. Like there's certain limitations I'm realizing, and then I also don't exactly know what the source of my knee valgus is because it's not some of the other things that people. It's not like in the motion of the squat do my knees go in. It's just kind of a generalized thing. And then I was talking to my mom. I wore leg braces as a kid, and I didn't know that. When I was walking really early, I walked really, really early and I had bow legs. And I've always had a little bit of bow leggedness. And I remember her maybe telling me years and years and years ago, but I had forgotten. And then she's like, oh, well, you had the leg things. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's right.
you were Forrest Gumping it, and you
I
forgot
was
that.
I was Forrest Gumping it. I don't remember any of it. It was literally I started walking, I was 8 months old or 9 months old, super young. And my legs were not developed. It was a weird thing. And I've always had a little bit of some feature, where they would say, oh, if you stand, your knees are supposed to, which I realize now is kind of this bullshit,
Yeah.
Thing. But yeah, I was talking about it. I had forgotten about it. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's just why my legs are weird. And I'm like, oh, I'm also, that was the beginning. And now I'm 43. It's just going to happen, I guess, eventually. But I'm trying to figure out how to strengthen things in a way to prevent further problems and maybe even restabilize my knees a little bit. I don't know. It's a tricky thing, but it's also my mom has unlocked a secret thing about my life that I forgot about, where it's yeah, you wore those leg braces. And I was like, oh, that's back in the 80s when they didn't know shit about fuck. They didn't. Is that right? I don't know.
It might be, yeah. I saw this thing. I don't know if I forgot whether I sent it to you or not, but it was about fixing the bending of the knees, where it's you take an exercise band, a booty band or whatever it is, instead of putting it mid thigh, you actually put it right above your knee, and it's almost kind of acting like a weight belt, where your weight belt forces you to do that Valsalva maneuver where you tighten your abs and everything.
Right.
But when you put it around just above your knee, you subconsciously push out with your knees so that the band doesn't push them together, where you're forcing against
you have
the
to
band.
fight. You're fighting against something.
Yeah, so it's you're training yourself to spread your knees open, and that's going to give you more. Because the whole thing was about, it wasn't about valgus, but it was about making sure you have proper form of function when you're doing a squat. But I feel that could also help you, where if you put it right above your knee, you would focus more on not turning your knees inward.
Yeah, there was also my calves are super developed on one side more than the other. I think that has something to do with it. Either way, it's all these anatomy things that I'm I don't know if I have the proper. I need someone to watch me do things with the knowledge of what it is they're supposed to be watching for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I go in there and look in the mirrors, and I'm in the gym and checking my form. I'm like, man, I'm fucking killing it. I'm doing so good right now. And meanwhile, I'm not. I just don't know what I'm like. Oh, I should be better than what I'm doing, better than what I'm doing, but I don't know what else to be critiquing myself on or taking care. It's that weird balance of it's always better to have another set of eyes.
I mean, if you ever want to film yourself and send me the video.
I mean, I do for my OnlyFans. Did you mean something different? Oh, you meant working out. Okay.
Yeah.
My OnlyFans is just me playing the role of supportive father figure and just telling you, hey, champ, you're doing great. Or me grabbing you by the shoulders saying, hey, you're better than this. That's just my just a lot of like affirmations from a bearded father figure, which could get pretty horny pretty quick. So I got to be careful.
Yeah, I feel like that's called that kind of kink is called a Tim Waltz.
A Tim Waltz. It's an all shucks, gee whiz kind of fetish. Very wholesome kind of thing. That's what you get off on. You get off on the wholesomeness. For the body, me, I started doing, because of I've been working overtime. I work nights. It's hard for me to get my workouts in. So I've been doing all of it, everything all at once, everything everywhere all at once.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing the Michelle Yeoh workout. I've been doing, so like I do cardio on the treadmill. I do incline to get my heart rate going. I'm pouring sweat, and then I'll go do the major muscle groups. Like I will do chest, back, like all of the, I guess, the pushing exercises on one day and the pulling exercises on the other. Does that make sense?
Push-pull legs.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do that so I could get 3 days where I hit everything, because I work the rest of the week and overnight. So like I'm trying to focus on sleep on those days. At work, I do push-ups and stuff, but that's just to kind of keep things, keep me awake overnight.
I will add this, and it kind of links our two things together. Is when I do the boxing class and then I go do legs. When I do the legs, I know I'm not going to do any sort of the reason I go light is because I know I'm not going to do like hypertrophy stuff where I know I'm not like, it's not building muscle. Because to link it back to yours is that they say if you want to build muscle for hypertrophy, it's actually better to not do cardio beforehand, that you need to do cardio afterwards. Because when you do cardio, you're reducing your glycogen stores, you're reducing your energy expenditure, you're fatiguing yourself, so that when you do those lifts, you're not giving it the full momentum, the full exertion, and therefore you're reducing the potential for full complete failure of RPE and all that shit. So they say actually do the weightlifting first, and then take a slight pause, 5-minute walk around, and then go into the cardio afterwards. Because even at that point, then your glycogen stores are completely drained from the weightlifting, and then you go into the cardio, and now you're igniting that survival mode. Oh shit, we don't have any more carbs in our body. While we're doing this cardio, let's start taking it from the fat stores.
So you're recommending I do the reverse?
Yeah, so if you do the cardio after the weightlifting, you're more likely to A, build muscle, and B, burn fat afterwards. Or not burn, burn fat is subjective, but it's like you're gonna take energy from your fat stores instead of your sugar and carbs and everything.
Interesting. I like the feeling of doing my weights warmed up, but you're saying it's interesting because I do feel like that. I don't get tired. I'm sweating. I feel like hot.
Yeah.
Like my body is hot. So I feel like that's a good time to start doing other exercises. But you're saying do the weights, do my weightlifting cold, my strength training cold.
So it's basically like like I'll what you said you do your you exercise after work, right?
No, I exercise I on the days that I either before work on the night shift before, like in the morning, and then I won't work out until like today. I got home from work this morning. I'm probably going to go now as soon as we're done to work out. But then on the days that I don't work, I'll do the full workouts. Like I'll do everything because I want to feel like I'm doing all of it.
They say you can actually do like if you want to get on the treadmill or something like that, and just do like a slight walk for like 5 minutes or something like that, just to get the blood circulation through your body.
Mm-hmm. But I know what you're saying. You warm up, like a legit warm up, not straight cardio.
Yeah, then don't do any stretching because stretching is a form of strength training. So that's when you stretch, you tear down your muscles. So stay away from stretching. And then your true warm up is just doing a very light version of whatever exercises you're going to do that day. So if you're going to do a bench press, do some push-ups. If you're going to do squats, then just do like body weight squats. So it's like just get the blood into the muscle.
Well, now I have to rework all of my routines, Will. Now I got to do everything different. I was getting comfortable. Well, I guess that's the point.
Yeah.
Good call. Good call, man. I was seeing, because I was seeing, there is the joy of the pump that I was seeing. When you start seeing progress, it
Yeah,
starts
man.
to feel good. I haven't really lost much weight, but I feel like tighter. Everything feels different. Everything feels a little bit better.
Yeah.
My posture is better. I'm standing up straighter because my shoulders are not tired from holding the weight of my arms. You know what I mean? Like my shoulders are stronger. I feel like they're tighter and they're like it's hard to see with a black shirt, but like and I have no pump right now.
Yeah.
But like in the gym, I've become a dude that takes pictures of the effort I'm putting in.
Good. You
I'm
should.
taking pictures of how sweaty I am because I'm like, look at what I've accomplished. I need to document this for me later when I'm like bored at work or whatever, and I'm like, I'm so tired, whatever. And then I flip open my picture or something or other, and I see it, and I'm like, yeah, you did that, man. I guess that's the mind side of the collateral benefit, taking pictures of progress.
Yeah. I think we talked about this like a long time ago when you first started, and I was texting you. I was like, "Hey, man, take pictures right now."
Yeah, and
like,
I didn't believe you.
It's gonna make me feel bad. And I was like, "No, take them now, and then keep taking them." And eventually, you're gonna be like, "Hey, these are cool pictures to take." See, I told you about this.
Yes,
shit.
you're right. And I want to say this is exactly. I love this. I saw this video and I knew we had to share it because it was so fun. The it's like big vibes when you see your first little baby tricep popping through.
That's a good.
Like she's like, look at that. Bam!
Yeah.
Look at the joy.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's looking good.
Look
too.
at the joy. I'm telling you, that's such a thing. I hate everybody who's made fun of jocks and physical fitness for being this kind of like aggressive, macho, angry thing, because it's probably dissuaded so many people like that. Like the whole fat people who feel like self-conscious going to the gym. It's like, no, you should be the most welcomed there.
Yeah.
That's where you're like, that effort is so rewarding, especially when you start seeing a little progress, like that little tricep move that she did and she sees it. She was like so happy. That's how I was feeling when I was seeing my shoulders more defined and like feeling like more mobility and more, like I was like, yeah, that joy is part of this process. I think that people don't talk about as much. They always show people breaking their backs and like like all of that, but there's an inherent kind of joy in progress. It's so fun.
There was this I forgot who said it, but I thought it was brilliant because it linked exercise and psychology and body improvement with the mind, and I thought it was fantastic. Where he said, somebody asked him, this client was very overweight, and said, I don't want to start lifting weights yet. I want to just focus on doing the cardio and the diet. And then once I lose all the weight, all the fat, then I'll start, doing strength training and stuff. And he said, literally do the opposite.
Right.
He said, right now, for two reasons. One, muscle does burn fat.
Mm-hmm.
It's, because it's not just, cardio burns calories now. Muscles burn fat forever. So It's like,
that's a good line.
It's like a constant engine where it's like the more muscle you have, you're going to be burning fat overnight when you're not at the gym.
Your base metabolic rate, like they always say that, if you eat an Oreo cookie, you got to do 30 minutes on the treadmill. Or I could also burn that off in 8 hours sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's the same measurement. It's just over a different span of time.
Yeah.
So the idea that and of course, your butt, your thigh, your quads, and your all of that is some of the best fat burning machines in your body. So I always thought it was funny when dudes would work out just upper body and have twig legs.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're even hurting yourself there, because you could be eating so much more, you could be enjoying so much more of your life, but your butt and thighs are tiny.
And so the guy went off from that, where it's like, not only from a scientific physical standpoint where your muscles are going to burn fat, but also as you start losing more weight, and building up this muscle, you're going to start seeing it in the mirror. And so then this other thing's going to click over where it's this motivation of, hey, my legs look good.
Yeah.
Hey, I can see my tricep.
The
Hey,
tricep, you saw how happy she was?
yeah, and it's
That's
like,
so nice.
and that's going to kick you into gear where it's like now you have starting to see muscle tone and muscle definition. And then when you start throwing in the cardio and getting, the even more fat burning, then it's going to be, you're going to, by the end of the losing the goal amount of adipose tissue, you're going to look like what you want it to look like, except you're going to cut out probably like 6 months.
Yeah. I think the biggest example of that kind of mentality these days is the people who take Ozempic and all of the seglutamide or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Those basically starvation aids. They're for diabetics and to help them control their sugar. But ultimately, if you're doing that, you're not building any muscle. You will then reveal how little muscle you have. That look doesn't like whatever evolutionarily evolved, whatever thing we have in our brain that says what strong looks like. It's not that.
Yeah.
Every visual thing for yourself of like progress usually is the product of muscles developed even under the fat.
Yeah.
Like even if you still have fat and you're there was a video of this obese gentleman who was in the gym, and they were showing him doing like flies and they were like showing like progress work, and then someone commented that he was doing the butterfly machine, the whole rack. So the whole rack was just yanking it up off the ground. I don't know what the weights were on that, but that's the sheer amount of strength needed to do that at any level. The whole rack of any machine, not nothing. You know what I mean? To then have somebody like someone who does not look like they're in shape be that strong is like we need new identifiers for what like visually what you think of strength is.
Yeah.
And I do think that once you start seeing it in yourself, whatever that guideline may be, not for beauty but for strength, it becomes this kind of a different conversation entirely. I really appreciate, like when I send you, I do feel dumb a little bit sharing, like taking pictures of myself and sharing my workouts with you. Like, here's what I did today, because I do feel like it's like, I'm not doing nothing special. Everybody works out, but I want to document my successes.
Yeah.
So I love that feeling of seeing progress, and I saw that video and I really enjoyed it. I like it. It touched. I was like, oh.
Is it your shoulders? Is that the thing that's like popping out most since you started this, or is there a different part of you that you're like, oh shit, that's really coming in?
Because I've been focused a lot because of my physical therapy for my back. I have the herniated discs in my back. I do a lot of like hip thrusts and ground stuff where I'm working on my butt, which is, don't say it. Don't say it. Just say it differently. No, don't say it. But I'm working out my butt.
I'm really proud of your progress, Mike.
But I am working out like my hamstring. I'm doing more deadlifts, and like the Romanian deadlift, I'm doing more of the bridges, and even with the weights to kind of really build up those muscles that are the support structure for my injury. So I've noticed my thighs are stronger. Like I feel more density. I haven't really lost much. I feel more density there, and also like just in my core, because I've had to work out my core a lot more. I feel like more like solid. It may just be the farts from earlier providing a lot of, but it is. I do feel like that I feel my shoulders. I see. If that makes sense. Visually, I'm like, oh, hey, what's this? What's this? Oh, and I stand there doing all the goofy poses, which I'm learning to embrace. But it's like it does matter. Like if I just felt better, that's great. But the fact that I feel better and then I see something, double whammy,
Yeah, there's an interesting thing where it's like sometimes I have to remind myself that's not always what I can see, because to me, when I look down, if I'm standing up straight and I look down at my thighs, especially because I got classic Northern European white guy legs, it's and I look down, I'm like, I have no quad separation. There's no I can barely see any. It's no definition of my.
Oh, no.
Then I have to remind myself my my thigh is the same size from my elbow to and it's it's just so long that the muscles instead of being compact, and it's then I'll go and do leg press, and I'll put 12 45-pound plates on it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going full depth on the leg press, and I'm just targeting my quads, and I'm like, oh, I can lift all this. This is
yeah, your strength is there. The visual markers that you've been told to look for, or what is generally conceived as being the visual
the vanity
goal,
of
the
it.
vanity. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's hard because everyone wants to look in the mirror and be happy with what they see, right?
Yeah.
I struggle with, everybody wants to look good. Well, no, it's not about, because that is a external definition. I want to be happy with what I see in the mirror. So for me, my workouts, if I don't want a six-pack, I don't think I have too much loose skin. I'm unhappy with that, but I want to look in the mirror and see progress. That to me makes me happy. I don't care what the final result is. I just want to, I'm 43 now. Maybe when I was 20, I cared more about vanity. Now it's more about self-esteem and pride, or self-reliance, something that I did. I earned this, that kind of thing.
Have you seen the actor Ethan Suplee?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you seen his transformation?
He looks like a completely different person.
Yeah, he looks like a warrior. He looks like he's going to battle. He looks like a ferocious, muscle-bound dude, and it's oh, this is the opposite of what he used to be.
Yeah, he is. I want to find there's.
And to the point, he's never gonna have six-pack abs because he has so much excess skin.
Right.
But it's he had a wife, he had a couple of kids, he had, he wanted to be healthy for these people.
Right. Let me see. Yeah. This. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same guy. That to me is it's astonishing what progress you can make. Because he's been in interviews and he was talking about how he would get cast as the fat guy and things, and then at a certain point he was too far in one. I've been on auditions for things, or I had my agent tell me, you either need to lose 30 pounds or gain 50. Without I either need to get to be fit, or I need to be fat. You cannot be in the middle if you want to be cast in anything. And I was like, man, that sucks. I understand it, because every archetype, needs is very easily identifiable on screen. That's for TV, that's for commercials. You don't want for a while there, it was all about being very easily identifiable. Now, then it was ethnically ambiguous. Whatever these capitalist monsters want to advertise with, that's their thing. So at a certain point, you were either the fat best friend, or the fat dumb guy, or you were the big in shape bully.
Yeah.
And I remember being told you either need to straight up lose 30, gain 50, pick one. And I was like, I want to be what I am right now.
I was just thinking about this yesterday or whatever it was, but it's two different active wrestling superstars. You got The Rock and you have Dave Bautista. And The Rock is not a good actor; he's a good movie star. But Dave Bautista, he's got some good acting chops to him.
Sure.
To the point where Dave Bautista, I don't know if you've seen recently,
yes,
he's slimmed down a lot.
Yes.
Where he is no longer a muscle-bound dude. He did it on purpose, where he's no longer lifting the weights or taking TRT or whatever he was doing to maintain that muscle mass. Now he's very slim. He just looks like a normal dude. And he did it because he wants better roles. He doesn't want to be cast as the muscle-bound guy. He doesn't want to be cast as the James Bond henchman or whatever it is. Whereas The Rock has leaned into it, where he's forever and ever,
he wants to be
the
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I applaud Dave Bautista for not sticking. I mean, it's got to be hits at the ego to be like, I'm gonna get rid of all this muscle.
Yeah, everything. Think about like, especially someone whose identity was based on building that. Like his whole wrestling career was built on his strength.
Yeah,
he was the monster. He was like the Leviathan. He was all these like it was all about how fucking big he was. And even his breakthrough role of Drax was given to him because of his physicality.
yeah.
And then what a position of privilege to be told that you're good enough to act even if you do not maintain this size, because it's very easy. It's like the comedian who's the fat comedian who makes all of his jokes are about being fat. Then that comedian loses weight. How do you continue to make those jokes? Oh no, I've run out of material. I can't. What if I'm not funny? I've seen it when I used to host the New Faces shows, where someone their first time ever they would get huge laughs, but they were drunk, and then it's like, well, that's it. They're gonna have to do that, to be drunk the same way over and over and over again, because they'll never have known a way that they were successful without it.
Mm.
And to be given that grace of like, hey, you're good enough to. Or I see myself as good enough to try and do it this other way, you know. This is something I saw. It's all one giant charade: steroids and Hollywood's drive for superhero perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all these movie stars insisting that they are not doing steroids
Mm-hmm.
without, you know, like.
Did you pay for the article? Because did you pay for the article reading?
No, I didn't.
I ended up going through some back channel ways to actually read the article.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that's been a common thing over the past years, especially as these aging stars get older.
I struggle with it because it's there's a bit of an I told you so there now, like with beauty standards for women. Like the impact that bullshit had on young boys growing up with like Arnold Schwarzenegger and He-Man and all of these like these figures that were super muscular and hyper masculine in the traditional setting, in the traditional descriptions, all of these hyper violent, all of these things that we were like shown constantly back when they didn't really give a shit about what that would do to people psychologically.
Yeah.
I think the whole body, the whole, I don't even know how to explain it, the whole like indoctrination of children into what normal is has had such an impact, because as a kid of the 80s growing up having all that stuff, man, I look back at pictures of myself in high school where I was like, I was a fat piece of shit. I can't believe how fat I was. And I look at those pictures now and I'm like, poor kid.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I feel so bad for all of the negative things that you said to yourself, because if I was that, like, I looked normal, I was fine. And the thing is that culturally, I had friends that were in that like gym structure back then where it was like vanity. It was all about looking good and six packs. And this is South Florida where nobody wears any clothes. Like your body is a fashion statement almost. Yeah. So like, because everybody is going to the beach and doing all this stuff. And it was so obsessed about, and I felt like shit, where it's like that. I didn't appreciate what I had until like you look back on it and you're like, damn, man. I'm nostalgic. Like I look back at old football pictures of mine. They pop up every now and again in like my TBTs, you know, when you post stuff, it'll just pop up. Oh shit, that's right. Where I was like, man, that kid hated himself and hated his body and all that stuff for no reason. For no reason. I was like a strong, powerful kid with like perfectly healthy, and it's just so crazy to think about how bad I felt about myself then.
It's that famous clip from Schitt's Creek with Catherine O'Hara when she's like, take as many nude photos of yourself as you can at this age.
Yeah.
And she's talking to the young woman and said, you may think you're disgusting and you're ugly, but you're going to look back one day and say, look how beautiful I was. So take as many racy, sexy photos as you can, because looking back, you're gonna say, "Oh, I'm so glad I had that moment in time where I appreciated who I was." And it's like, man,
yeah, that you're right. That's it is a powerful sentiment, like that idea of like you will there's something to be said for working towards improvement, but there's also something to be said about not doing it out of a place of low self-esteem.
mm-hmm.
You want to better yourself because you have self-esteem for yourself. You know, like when I think about God, I keep coming back to the Olympics, and I keep coming back to like why everyone freaked out about like the boxer girl, that they were like, that's a man. And it's like, because so many people have no idea what real bodies look like.
Yeah.
That, you know, you're only shown like very specific, narrow, like the smallest margin of what people think is attractive. But humanity is such a broader spectrum that if you're basing your entire self-worth on this narrow view, when you see somebody who's trained their bodies to be at their peak, mm-hmm. not because they're trying to look good, but they're trying to compete against other people who are doing the same thing. Your body is not going to look like what the ideal beauty is. It's going to look like what your best self is, which our two shouldn't even be in the same qualifier. They just should be totally different. And I think about that a lot.
I'm going to link what we're talking about now with the steroid thing you just brought up, which is not only this boxer, but especially the I think she was shot put, the one that's on the cover of Swimsuit.
Oh, she was rugby.
Rugby, right? That's right. Yeah, rugby. And it's like she has this very strong features, mm-hmm. where it's like she looks like a strong person. Like if this were back in Norway in the 1400s, her children would conquer all of Europe.
She would be so God, this is so gross. It feels like eugenics a little bit, where you're just like, she would be the most desirable mate for like if there was like a chief of a tribe, be it like her and you get to, we need warriors. She would be one of the warriors. Her name's Ilona Mar, or Mayor Mar.
Yeah.
She's also so funny. She's great on social media. She was just on the cover of Sports Illustrated, the swimsuit issue.
Yeah.
Showing, and I fully commend it. There's also another person on the team. Her name is Samantha Sullivan. She is inarguably. Here, I'll show my new crush. This woman is an elite athlete, and she was invited to. She looks like, to me, what Supergirl should look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of powerful, physical body. And then she was also like invited to New York Fashion Week, and they dressed her up real nice. But then like she's inarguably a beautiful woman. And I'm trying to find the post. No, that's not the one. Here. She's got muscle. She's so strong. She's so powerful. And then she's like, oh, this is the why they chose me to come to Fashion Week. And then this is also her. It's the same person. You're allowed to be multiple things. Like there's so much power in showing this to people,
mm-hmm.
that I think it's like in the Olympics, and bringing it around full circle to athletics, like professional football. There's so much power in seeing, for boys, we've always had sports figures to identify with as like an aspirational thing, not as people, but as like your body can do amazing things. Look at what Bo Jackson could do. Look at what Michael Jordan could do. Look at what LeBron James does now. All of these things are something you can aspire to. I've always, now seeing this, it's like a revelation to the past of like how limited that focus has been for girls.
Yeah.
Like, because you can, like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to improve your body and ability, not just for vanity, but just for the sake of seeing what your body can do. It's a Socrates thing.
Yeah.
That's that quote from Socrates. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's like
the responsibility of a man to train himself to find out what his body's capable of, or something, like whatever it is.
Yeah, basically like the smartest thinkers in the world, one of the smartest thinkers in history was like, also you owe it to self to exercise your body, not just your mind, and
Yeah.
learn where your limits are in every way
Yeah.
and test them. And I'm like, yeah, I
That's
totally get it. Everyone should be able to do it. Man, women, all genders in between. I think it should be something that should be afforded to everyone.
to bring it back to the steroids thing. I was one of the people that gets thrown around all the time for taking steroids. You know, because a lot of it's just like conjecture. Oh, I bet he's taking. I bet you're natty or not, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And John Cena always gets thrown in there. And for the longest time, I've always been like, dude, this guy's got so much juice. But then I saw a picture of him in like high school, and he has the same head.
Yes.
He's got the
same square ass, big ass head.
And he always has this giant body structure. And he's for his entire career, he's always been like, no, I've never taken steroids. And I'm always like, whatever, sure.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't know. Like,
there's certain people.
Like he could.
One of my favorite, it's football season, I'm going to talk about it, but one of my favorite documentaries of all time is the Bo Jackson 30 for 30.
Oh, yeah.
Where it talks about how he had this whole weight room in his house and people would go, he's like, I didn't touch that. You never touched that, do you? He's like, nah. He was such a naturally gifted person that if he was around now, there would be steroid accusations. He would be tested constantly. And he's like, yeah, and then they showed pictures of him as this, like a 16-year-old kid looking like he's 35. Like he's just like these giant kid, like just genetically gifted. And to be fair, like there's always accountability. There's always a certain accounting for genetics.
Yeah.
It's all, but once you take that out of the equation, hard work is still part of it. Like dedication and testing your limits is part of being a human being. And I think we should always be like, I think that's a positive thing. Finding out what you're capable of. We have to round out the show. This has been so much fun. We're talking about ways to improve our lives, mind, body, and community. What are your body goals for this week, Will? I will tell you my body goals are going to be to do what you said. I'll do the weight training first, and then do the cardio at the end. I think that I'll switch it up, do a little change up my routine to see how my body reacts, and then start treating my workouts like a science experiment of tracking data and seeing, all that stuff. Because science is just fucking around and writing it down. Yeah. What about you?
I think this week I'm not going to do any boxing class. The following week after that, I'm actually doing like a staycation kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
So I think I'm going to use up my 4 credits I have remaining during that week.
Yes.
And I'm going to that week. I think I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to hit up the boxing classes, all that stuff. So this week, even when I do go to the gym, I'm going to take it a little lighter, almost like a deload week, where I'm going to do almost like a whole week of active recovery, where it's like I'm going to keep the blood flowing, but there's not going to be any tear down of muscle fibers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, let's keep it moving, let's keep it mobile, but let's not do any sort of injury.
Yeah. And that will improve your mind as well, your little staycation.
Yeah, because it'll also. If I do a deload week this week, whenever you work out, you're also taxing your central nervous system, your CNS, which is your mind body connection. And
hold on a second. I'm so sorry. I have an emergency. Hold
on. For those of you currently watching, Mike is going to check his stool for which shape. Consistency, according to the chart he posted earlier, by his discussion on black beans. I'm guessing it is on the lower scale, towards the bottom of the scale. I'm guessing I saw the word fluffy down there at the bottom. I'm guessing it's the fluffy one. All right, this seems to be a tough one. It could also be that Mike ran off to fight an intruder. There was a lack of sound, so it may be an assassin, some sort of ninja, a shinobi. I see no flying objects No projectiles. So.
Whoops.
Oh, he made it. He survived. Okay.
Sorry. Good. What did you say?
Nothing but glowing things. At first, I thought you were checking the poop chart in the bathroom.
No, it was not that kind of. Sorry, someone was banging. I thought someone was banging on my door.
Oh,
because I had.
My second theory was you were fighting an intruder.
No, but there was definitely. So there was like a loud commotion, and I thought it was someone banging on my door. It was someone like banging around in the hallway. They were moving something, and I was like, but it sounded like someone was like banging on my apartment door, and I was like, I'm about to become one of these viral videos you see online about someone getting invaded at home, and I'll just be like someone like
This is gonna be like one of those movies they made during COVID lockdown, where it's like one guy's watching another guy be murdered over Zoom. Like, no, there's nothing I can
do. Remote work, return to the office. This would have never happened.
And now he looks like a cat. There's cat filter. Oh no!
Oh no!
He's being murdered by a cat.
Sorry about it. Yeah, no, I genuinely thought someone was banging on my door. Okay. Whatever you said, I stricken from the record. No, just kidding. But the reality of the situation is that was distracting. What were we talking about?
Central nervous system. By taking a deload and a staycation, it's going to reduce central nervous system fatigue. So there'll be good mind body health.
There's a certain like relaxation that comes from doing stuff that you know you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not pushing your limits and you're just kind of doing it, it basically is like rest for your mind. And also, so I mean, I totally get it. I think for my mind, I'm really gonna try and focus on creativity. I want to focus on, because I was playing D&D today, and I feel inspired to like, write or paint or draw or do something. I feel inspired to create something. I'm doing this world building thing in the game, but it's also like the collateral benefit of playing that game is that it's giving me ideas for other stories that I would want to tell. And then it's like, well, what format can I tell them in? It's like, well, why don't you just write it down? I'm having a conversation with myself in that way. Yeah. So like, I'm like, I want to create a short story by the end of the week or something like that. I figured that would be fun. And then my community element would be sharing it with the world.
Oh.
Or not. Probably it's going to suck, but either way, it will be something like it's like that Jake, the dog from Adventure Time. The best way to being kind of sucking at something is the first step to being kind of good at something.
Yeah.
So if maybe I'll write a song or do something, I gotta get enough bad songs out of me before I can consider writing a good one. So my goal will be to write a bad story, a bad song, or draw something badly before the end of the week.
I'm a big fan of the Mr. Rogers when he's painting and he goes, "I'm not very good at this, but I still enjoy it." You don't have to be good at something to do it.
That is such a liberating thought once you become an adult, where you're like, oh, I could just do stuff.
Yeah, you don't need to monetize this. You don't need to win a competition. You don't need to.
No cop is going to come and like arrest me for dicking around on an iPad drawing a landscape. No, nothing bad. I want to learn how to be one of those spray paint can artists.
Oh, yeah.
I want to. Sure, why not? That looks fun. I want to carve a piece of wood into the shape of a little cow. Sure, why not? No one's gonna if it looks like a cow at the end, bonus. But the process, I think, is the goal.
Yeah.
The progress is the goal. Ooh, no, that's nothing.
No.
Will, thank you so much. What was your community aspect of for the week?
Oh, community aspect for the week. Probably not. Try not to kill anybody.
Good. Yeah, that's super solid. That's the only way society thrives, if we just don't kill each other.
Even if I can
let's make it a goal to
even if I could just cut back. If I can just cut back on the murder
down. Well, no, like at the very least, manslaughter.
Yeah.
just assaults. Don't go all attempted murder. Attempt.
Yeah.
Don't succeed in that one. Oh my God. That's what we'll leave it today, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching Zeros on Heroes / Collateral Benefit. My name is Mike Mercadal. This is Will Watkins. You can follow us at Mike Mercadal, at William A. Watkins, one on all social media platforms. You're with or without the one, give it a shot. It could work wherever you find Will. We also have an email. If you have any questions about stuff we talk about, questions about ways that you can benefit your life, or just want to share with us something that you're doing to improve your life, body, mind, or community, send us an email, zerosonheroes@gmail.com. We get it. We'll share it. We've had a couple emails with people that we've talked about on the show. It's always nice because then it gives us something to talk about with some focus rather than just the ADHD bullshit that happens when we start this conversation. We start the show.
Also, if you need to forward an email so you don't get haunted by a Slender Man or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Zerosonheroes@gmail.com. We will take the Slender Man hit for you.
And then we're going to make Slender Man buff.
But we're going to make not so Slender Man. We're going to make him big and strong. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Follow at Zeros on Heroes on all social media platforms. Follow us. Stay tuned. Give like, share, and subscribe, and you'll be notified when we go live. Thank you, Yolanda, Mom Koji in the chat and Twitch. And thank you, everybody. Hey, Will, looking good.
Hey, I'm just trying to look like you, man.
Just trying to look like you. Everybody, remember to go out